Hello everyone and welcome to another Forza Motorsport commentary. So as you know, and from the last video, I've been doing a lot of stream grind on this game, and I've been doing a really good job of keeping up with the stream grind on it, but I admittedly have been slacking on the YouTube side a little bit, so trying to get back into that this week and try to post some of my races. Probably going to do a few from this session that I did last night, because of, well, mostly because of recency bias. Just raced these races and the good ones stick out in my mind. But also because there were some really good races. Like, this was probably one of the better sessions that I've had on the game, which is nice to say that we're, 2 weeks down in the game and that I'm having a session now that was probably like one of my best multiplayer sessions that I played in terms of fun and in terms of balance and multiple different things and crashes and stability, stuff like that. Is probably one of the better ones. Really nice to say that it feels like it's getting better in a way. And yeah, so I'm going to try to post a few of the races from here because I have so much footage and so many highlights and stuff like that I've been wanting to post and just haven't really gotten around to. So this session was really good, so I was like, all right, you know what, I'm just going to download this VOD and we're going to put some of these up and do some commentaries, talk about some different stuff on them. So in this one, what I wanted to do is I wanted to talk about like the multiplayer format, essentially, and kind of like run through it in this video. So right now I'm qualifying, and when you join a lobby, you're always in practice, and practice is always going, and practice lasts for roughly 30 minutes in a lobby. Now, the race times are always set, so it depends on when you join. If you join like super early, then yeah, practice could be like 30 minutes, you could be waiting that long. But if you join, I don't know, like 5 minutes before the race, 10 minutes before the race, you'll have about that much time of practice, and it doesn't take too long. It gives you enough to warm up and qualify and figure out the track, figure out the setup, stuff like that. So you join in, practice is always going on, and you can always like switch tire compounds and switch setups and switch fuel load and stuff like that and mess around in practice. And whenever you want to, you can enter qualifying, which is what I was just showing on the screen. And the way qualifying works is kind of interesting because qualifying is a different session than practice, so you won't see the people that are practicing while you're qualifying. But interestingly enough, you will see the people that are qualifying, the other people that are qualifying while you're qualifying as well, and they'll be ghost card. Thankfully, they'll be ghost card, but you actually can see the other people that are qualifying. So in practice, it doesn't do like the ghost car too often unless there's a really bad crash. So practice, you can practice like battling with people and drafting and stuff like that. Qualifying, you can't do that, but you can still see people's lines if you start qualifying around the same time as them. You can still see their lines. You can still see like how they're comparing with you, like on track, because you have the ghost car, which is kind of interesting. So yeah, qualifying, you're open to qualify. You get 3 laps that you can do for qualifying. You don't have to do 3 laps. You don't have to qualify at all. But you can do 3 laps at any time during the practice. So yeah, practice is running the whole time. Start qualifying whenever you want to. Try to get your 3 laps in, and then it goes into a 1-minute race countdown, which we're looking at right now, which is usually where I try to figure out what I want to do strategy-wise for the race. So try to figure out the optimal amount of fuel to put in. Don't want to put in too much. It's going to lose lap time. It's not really necessary. Don't need to, don't want to put in too little, though. You don't want to run out of fuel, so try to find that right spot. And then try to figure out what I'm going to do tire-wise, which is probably what I'll talk about a lot in this video, because I have pretty good pace on the field. Now, the reason why I wanted to post a lot of races from this night is because that wasn't the case all the time. Like, there was actually some good battles, and it felt like the matchmaking was working a little bit better. That being said, there's always exceptions, and this Road America race was an exception. I definitely had quite a bit of pace on the field here, but I still get some on-track battle action because of the strategy that I choose. So what I chose to do here is I knew from doing previous races on this track that I could get away with a soft medium tire strategy. So that's what I decided to do, and I decided to start on softs because what I really like about starting on softs is it feels like you can get away from people and get away from the first lap chaos. So here we go, start of the race, green flag. So yeah, once it loads into the track, it always does that 3-second countdown. Once the countdown's done, it's green. Some tracks actually are rolling start, but you don't get to control the rolling start. This guy, I was cooking him. I don't know if that was intentional, but it kind of looked a little intentionally trolly. Maybe it wasn't. So if it was, sorry to that dude, but like, come on. Like, what was that? So good awareness on myself to miss that. That was probably the biggest moment of the race, honestly, because he could have absolutely destroyed me if I wasn't smart enough there. So yeah, that's how the race starts. And getting back to what I was talking about with the tires, I know that I can do a soft medium strategy on this track because I've done it before. And the game does give you like little bits of data to work with as far as like the tire wear and lap time and stuff like that. But it's not like super reliable. I find that you often just have to do a race with a certain car at the certain track and just get a feel for it, figure out what you can do strategy-wise. And I've done races at Road America in the early LMPs that I'm racing here, and I know that I can do this soft medium strategy, and I know that it feels pretty good. I feel pretty comfortable with it, and I think it is to me, it feels like the optimal strategy. Now, the reason why I like starting on the softs, whether I'm doing a soft medium strategy or doing a soft hard, the reason why I like starting on the softs instead of starting on the medium tire or starting on the hard tire is, well, I guess because I'm like breaking everything down in this video, I guess we'll start from that. So like the difference between the tires, the soft tires, they wear the quickest. So I'm gonna have to take a pit stop the quickest out of, you know, everybody in the field, except for other people that are running softs as well. I'm gonna have to pit earlier than people that run mediums. I'm gonna have to pit way earlier than people that run hards. So the softs wear the quickest, but the positive to the softs is they have the best grip. So I'm going to be, you know, hopefully doing really fast laps and should be well ahead of people. Even if I'm not running like if I'm running even laps, I'll put it this way. If I'm running even laps with somebody that's on the medium tire, then I'll be running about a second faster a lap on the softs. If I'm running even laps with somebody on the hard tire, I'll be running about 2 seconds faster than them. So that's about the inherent like time difference that the softs have. It depends on the track, right? It depends on the track, but on most road courses, it's going to be roughly, the soft tires will be about a second faster on the lap time than the mediums, and the mediums will be about a second faster than the hards, and the softs will be, you know, like 2 seconds faster than the hards. That is about what it'll be. So again, the softs wear the quickest, but they do offer a lot of grip. They do offer a lot of speed. Now, I like that for the start of the race because the starts of these races are very chaotic. And you saw that happen with that Emilio dude in the beginning of the race. You know, those types of instances can happen where people can either intentionally troll you or just make a mistake at the start of the race and lock up the brakes, and you could get cheesed on the start and stuff like that. Like, those situations happen, right? So the reason why I've started running softs in the beginning of these stints, and why I've been, you know, leaning towards doing that in these races, is because they give you that extra grip, and, you know, hopefully I can be really quick off the gate and just like get away. Just hopefully get away before like the pack gets too close and somebody can do something like too stupid like behind me and take me out. So that's kind of the idea. I have ran a lot of these races starting on mediums, and that's perfectly valid too, but it's one of those things where you have to like trust the lobby. And if I don't trust the lobby, then I like running these softs. And it's just nice to, if I have that starting position, and this isn't necessarily, even though I did it from the pole this race, this isn't necessarily something that like has to be done from the pole. I'll do it from second place, I'll do it from third, I'll do it from fourth. Once I get to like 5th, 6th, 7th, that's where I start to consider starting on like mediums or hards or whatever. But first 2 rows, I really like starting on softs, getting around and getting away from the other people that are close to me, building that gap, and just letting the pack racing settle itself out. Because that pack racing can really slow you down. The pack racing in this game, there's something, I'd have to confirm it. I'd have to, you know, see what sweaty players say about it. But I swear there is some major, whether it's like aerodynamic or whatever it is, there's some major effects on the car when you're in a pack. And I feel like it's not just when you're behind other people, but when you're like slightly in front of them as well. I swear, like, there's some odd effect going on in this game when you race like close to people that just absolutely cheeses your grip. So that's another reason why I like starting these races on softs, is because I get that distance, and I hopefully get out of that distance where that seems to happen. Because it's one of those things where if you've put enough hours, I'd have to confirm it, but if you put enough hours into this game, I swear you would know what I'm talking about. Like, there's something to it. There's some sort of effect beyond just obviously like if you're battling with somebody, it's going to slow you down. It's beyond that. Like, I swear my car, if I had to pull a number out of my ass, feels like 30%, maybe even like 50% at times looser as I go in for my first pit here when I'm like around people, again, ahead or behind them. It's very odd. Very odd. So that's why I like starting on the softs. Now here I go for my pit. I stretch the softs as far as I feel comfortable doing, and then I'm going to go on the medium tires. And so this is the most interesting part of the race, is again, the softs. If it works out well, I'll have a gap like I did. I'll work out to that gap. But again, like I was saying earlier, I have to pit earlier than the people on like mediums and hards. I'm going to have to pit before they do. So that means I'm going to come back out into the field, and I'm probably going to come back out into the field around some people. So let's see, you know, around like how many people are we working with here. And this is not ideal. I come out like right behind and in the middle of like a pack of 4 or 5. This doesn't always happen. Usually it's like 1 or 2 drivers, but I got kind of unlucky this time. And there's just like a really big pack here. And this is always brutal because it's just hard to navigate. You don't want to wreck anybody, but it's just awkward because you know that I have a big gap on these guys. Like, I'm not really racing with them, if that makes sense, like for position, but I still want to get around them because it's going to hurt my race if they hold me up too much. So I'm trying to navigate this situation as cleanly as I possibly can, because it is the most important part of these races with that soft strategy, is this point in time here where I come back out near people. So, and this is going to be a pretty crazy move right here, I want to say. There we go. Send it up. I just kind of felt it. Guy behind me went absolutely rogue. I don't know what was going on with that, but we were able to pull off a couple nice, clean overtakes there in those last few corners. And part of the reason why that is because these guys that I'm battling with, and this is where the advantage kind of comes back into my favor, they are on, you know, a lot of them are on medium tires. I'm on medium tires as well, but a lot of them are on medium tires when the medium tires are starting to fall off. So yes, I do come out of the pits into a pack of drivers, but the advantage with this strategy is that I do get an advantage. Like, it kind of comes back into my favor. Their tires are starting to fall off. Mine are fresh when I come out behind them, and I can use that to my advantage to easily pass them. Or, as we'll see here as I look behind me, a lot of the time when I come out of the pits, they'll be going into the pits like the next lap. So I just have to survive like a lap, and then they'll go into the pits. So that's where my strategy, that soft medium or soft hard strategy that I like to run in these races, that's kind of the situations that strategy puts me in. Now, again, I like it more than starting on mediums or hards, because especially hards. What I found when starting on hards is that even if I had a big pace advantage on people, they would start on softs or start on mediums and be competitive with me in the beginning, and that would just like cost me so much time, because I'm actually like faster than them in some cases, but they have a better tire, so they're just able to battle and battle and battle, and I'm just not really able to get away even if I'm running a better overall pace. And it just costs a lot of time on my race, and it's just easier for people to stay close. And when that happens, you end up in, again, like battles, you end up in a pack. I find that this strategy that I ran in this race, yes, I'm still going to have to like battle some people on track at some point, and unless you are just like crazily ahead of the field in terms of pace, you know, that's always going to happen, right? With these pit strategy, you're always going to have to like battle somebody at some point in the race, right? There's always going to be some on-track action. But I like this strategy because I feel like I'm in control. I feel like I'm in control. I feel like I'm at the advantage with the on-track action that I have to deal with running this strategy. Whereas with the hards, starting on the hards, I found that it was the opposite. I felt like I wasn't in control, and I felt like I was just trying to hold on until they had to like pit or whatever. So yeah, I found that strategy just like costed me races a lot of the time, and it's pretty frustrating. So anyways, that was the most fun part of the race there for you guys to watch. Me navigating that pack and getting another pass there. That's easily the most fun part of the race. That's another thing that I like about the strategy too, is that when I do pull out behind a few drivers and I've got that edge with the tires, and their tires are gonna be falling off, you usually get some pretty clean passes and some good little battle action. It's kind of fun. It's kind of fun. So what spices up this race a little bit is the guy that I just passed and the guy that was just in front of me, their tires were done. They just went into the pits. Right, so they just went into the pits. You should only have to do one pit. I don't have to do any other pits. I'm running my mediums all the way to the end. Now, take a look. This guy in first place is going for a gamble. He's going for a gamble. He is on the hard tire, and on some tracks, and Road America being one of them, you can kind of get away with doing a no-stop strategy in these medium races. So I chose to do a pit. This guy that's currently in the lead is committing to not pitting. He is going to try to run the race on his hards, even as brutal as it'll be on the last couple laps, and he's just committed to doing that, and he is not going to pit for the rest of this race. So now, that is the guy that I am competing with for the win, and you see he's got an 11-second gap on me. And I'm going to be on these medium tires. We're going to run these next 3 laps as hard as I can. We're going to try to make up that gap and try to get by him. So keep an eye as we go through these last few laps. Keep an eye on that guy in first place in that gap and, you know, see how it evolves throughout the laps. Now, I'm going to be gaining a little bit right now. I don't think his tires are like fully fallen off yet, but the mediums do just have pace on the hards, and obviously I have pretty good pace in this lobby as well that we saw earlier. So I'm obviously going to be making up time on track, but if you pay attention to the gap these next few laps, I think you guys will be able to tell, and I'll try to call it out when his tires really fall off. Because the interesting thing about the tire strategy on this game is that it's a pretty sharp fall off. Like, it's not like iRacing where it's like a steady decline, or the iRacing, it kind of works both ways, where like when the tires heat up, it's kind of like steadily like gets grippier, and then you find like a peak time for the tires, and then it steadily like gets worse. That's not really how it works in this game. Like, once the tires are heated, once you're done with the first lap, your max grip until your tires start to go yellow. Once they go yellow, they drop off a little bit. It's not too bad. It's pretty manageable, but they drop off a little bit. And then once your tires go orange, that's when you really start to feel the drop off. That's the like off a cliff, like really bad drop off. And red is like you're really trying to get through the corners. Like, red is brutal. So yeah, that's how the tire wear works in this game. And the guy in the lead, I imagine his tires like have to be yellow at this point. I imagine they like have to be like yellowish, but pretty soon here, I think they're going to go into the orange. And when that happens, my mediums are going to be white, and they're going to get, you know, a little bit yellow at the end, but my mediums are going to be in pretty good condition. His hard tires are going to be pretty screwed, and you're going to see me start to make some big gains. Obviously, I've been making some steady gains these last couple laps, maybe not enough to win though, but his tires are going to fall off really soon. And that's where the big gains are going to come in. You guys will be able to see it too. Obviously, like, spoiling it a little bit, but I mean, come on. You saw the pace difference. Like, it shouldn't be too shocking that I'll get there. But yeah. So the last couple laps, we've gained 2-ish seconds a lap, and you know, a little bit of that is pace, a little bit of that is tire advantage, just being on the medium tire instead of the hard. But I think around like here is where his tires, like, I start to gain like a ridiculous amount. Like, the tires for him really start to fall off here coming into the final lap, and you can tell, like, just in this sector, I'm gaining like a couple seconds. Like, it's brutal for this guy. Yeah, you can see 2.5, 2.4, like, it's just rapidly going down now. So here we go, white flag, last lap of the race, and the guy in the lead, his tires are cooked. His tires are absolutely cooked at this point. He is just trying to hold on. So you saw I crossed the finish line there, 2 seconds behind him. Right? So keep in mind that gap. I cross the finish line 2 seconds behind him. We go through one turn, I gain a second. I gain a second in one turn. His tires are cooked. You can tell. And then here we go. I gain like a second here as well. And I make the move, and you can tell he's just struggling. He's just trying to hold on. So he tucks in behind me because at this point, he knows that his race is not with me. Like, my tires just went yellow. His tires are surely all orange, and maybe even some of them red at this point. So he's just not going to be able to compete with me. I'm on the better tire anyways, and my tire wear is better. So his race is no longer for the win. So because I should have this race locked up, what I find interesting for you guys to look at is watch his gap compared to, and that was a needless penalty. I don't know why I went for that. Watch his gap and watch how much third place picks up on him. In this ending scenario, with third place still on like decent tires, I'm sure, and second place, his tires being cooked. Watch how much third place gains on him before we get to the end here. Remember that third place was about 17, 18 seconds ish behind that guy at the finish line this lap, I want to say. So keep that in mind, 17, 18 seconds ish. So we're coming to the end here. And I'll get some variety, by the way. I'll do some videos on other tracks. Like, obviously, this is I don't know how I did mention it yet, but Road America. I've done 3 videos in the game now, 2 of them on Road America. I am biased, but I will get some videos on some other, like the next one that I plan on doing will be Grand Oak. I have a pretty fun race there, and I'll get some other tracks. So yeah, my tires finally go orange at the very end of the lap, and I end up finishing 10 seconds. Remember, I was 2 seconds behind of that guy. I end up finishing 10 seconds ahead of him at the end of the race when I was 2 seconds behind, hitting the finish line on that final lap. Third place, ended up finishing 6 seconds. Think about 6 seconds behind him. So third place gained like 11 seconds. I gained like 12-ish seconds, something like that, on that guy in that last one lap. That just goes to show like how crazy the tire wear is. Like when you get it to that point and how insane the gains can be. Hope you guys enjoyed that race. I'll do some more. We'll get some more tracks, get some more discussion. And yeah, see you in the next one.